Hello? Hello, everybody. This is Mike. I am back after a hiatus for a while. We had Christmas and New Year's, but we're here. Ranelle is here.
You're
She's
here.
only on the phone. Hello.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Yep. She had a
Sorry,
small,
everyone.
yeah, a
To
little
protect
emergency.
privacy, I can't go live with my face. So
Yeah.
hopefully you can hear
So
me.
yes. So that's good. Here we are. Hello. Thank you, anybody that was out there waiting, for your patience, because I get it. It's frustrating. So,
Mike, when has this ever worked smoothly for this show? When?
I mean, once I
Never.
think
You
there was
think
one
so?
time. Yeah,
Oh, come
our
on.
3 hour
Really?
one or marathon. You can still see my chipped
Okay.
tooth.
Speaking of which, we ought to do a marathon. What do you think?
I don't know, man. That's like lots of me. No, I don't know if people want to see this face.
Yeah, but we could get a lot of guests, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And we just do right.
Yeah, we could do all kinds of
Do a
things.
call-in.
Anyway,
Do a call-in.
tonight we are talking about basically Ranelle in her near-death experience. She had a lot of experiences that she went through and a lot of things that she witnessed and happened to her. One of which kind of jumped out at her this week, and she can tell that part of the story. But we're basically going over self-importance and pride and what that means to us and how does it apply. So, Ranelle, do you want
Well, how does it look? And you know, the world around us, vanity, when it comes to money, identity, looks, you know, and especially in America, it's not true for some of my expats out there and some people who are watching from Europe right now. It's not the case. But in America, where capitalism is a really crucial part of our economy, it's important. It's an important element of our job, what we do for a living, and who we are, and our identity.
You mean basically that vanity is an important part of it, or
No, in a sense that identity is that vanity. See, you and I have grown up in a particular generation and a particular type of culture.
Yeah.
Where vanity is a different word than the rest of the world would call it.
Yeah.
The rest of the world would call it image.
Yeah.
And identity.
Think about all the self-help books out there. You know,
yeah, a lot of self-help.
Show yourself, be yourself, which some of
Be
those
your
messages are good to a degree, but
right.
When we focus on ourselves so much, it becomes.
Speaking of which, I'm the speaker, so I can tell you I have spoke on this subject.
Oh, good.
Many a times.
Let's speak. I want to hear it.
Okay. You want to hear the one I do for my companies? When I go out to the Fortune 500s, usually I talk to them that it is important. You can't just, there are a lot of companies that are doing at home now, you know, and so in fact, my son is at home right now working on marketing, you know, for a major software company that handles healthcare. So I can tell you that there are companies now that are bringing the business home. But even at home, there has to be some sense of confidence and courage and ability to hold yourself in a healthy way and in a healthy atmosphere where you're not crossing that line, where you're not going into, it's all about me. Even when I talk to employees, I tell them, when you go to work, you're in a family. Everyone around you has extended family at home, but you have a work family. And believe it or not, you have a mommy and a daddy, which are your employees, and your employer. Yeah. Your superintendent, your supervisor, your whoever it may be. you're higher up.
Yeah,
And then,
I mean,
as we go down, where we stand in the company, whether we're a business owner or whether we are working as employees, we still have to abide by certain parameters and rules and boundaries. But what we never really discuss is how we show up in that. And in fact, I remember one of the first jobs I ever had was working for a travel agency. I was, I think, 19 years old. And I remember the travel agent said, I hate hiring people that are going through divorces. They're the biggest flakes. And so there is a perfect example of where we take what we have at home and we carry it into the workplace. Because
and let's be
then,
honest, the opposite direction too. How many? I think America brings work home too much.
yeah, that too.
But that's
So vice
another,
versa.
yeah.
Because I'm a business owner, so I can tell you that yes, I bring a lot of that home with me in my home, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to deal with my son who's working at home. So it's very difficult because I'm trying to still work, on my speaking and my books, and then he's still trying to operate his company, working for his company as an employee. So it's very difficult for us to respect each other's boundaries, and even though we're at home. So
Yeah.
basically, what I wanted to chat with you guys all about tonight, you guys, all my friends out there, and all of you who are
All
listening,
the
and
people. All the people.
right,
This is for everybody.
yeah, and it's that, and those who have heard me speak, those who have heard me in the business workplace, I'm actually here at Walgreens being Ranelle, trying to run like a crazy woman, because when I went to the pharmacy earlier, I didn't realize that they closed early. And so I ran with my shoes half on, half on.
And this is, by the way,
Behind a
when
long line,
I was
sweating,
sitting,
and
I
Mike
was
was
sitting
getting
here.
out of the shower.
That did happen. Yeah.
And so then both of us were late. And so under every circumstances, under the best of intentions, under the best circumstances in the workplace or at home, whatever, you have to be on about who you are. You have to be willing and ready to take on the challenge, to take on whatever is happening in the moment that you're faced with it. I talked to somebody who's, I think he's listening right now. I hope he is. I hope he didn't give up. Who most people would know if I said his name. And I'm not going to. But, it was clear when we were talking today, we were talking as friends. And yet at the same time, I have to respect who he is and his work, even though we're just friends. Does that make any sense? Because of who he is.
It does. I mean,
so we came to a little bit of a clash, and I had to stop and take a deep breath and realize those parameters, not just for him, but for myself as well. Who am I, Ranelle Wallace? Who is he? And today he's off. I'm not. So we still have to find within ourselves that identity that does not mark us by the car we drive, the house we pull up to, whether our kids are drug addicts, because I can tell you that I have some very wealthy friends are drug addicts, and then I have poor people that are friends of drug addicts. I have very successful friends that are poor and kids are going off to Ivy League colleges, and friends that are rich
where they get addicted to drugs,
going off to Ivy League colleges. So who are you in all of it? Who are you?
I do like that. And who am I? I'm a father. And that's where what defines you is an important thing uh, for me, son of God, father, and then everything else kind of follows after that. To be, see, I just see such a toxic reality that
Uh-huh.
people look at themselves and they just
And judge
have this self
themselves. Right.
importance that is just it they
It's
in
not
the
just
name of
self-importance,
business
Mike.
in
Yeah, it's
yeah
not just
in the
self-importance.
name
We
of
go through
business.
periods. Uh-huh.
True. In the name of business, in the name of progress, in the name of those types of things, they put others down. They step on the backs of others to get ahead. Those types of things become part of the reality of our work lives.
Right.
And yet we still
And
have to work with them. Are they really
right.
family? Are they
Are
going to
they
look out
family?
for you?
Are they
The
going to have your back at work
that's
since you're working at home?
I mean, I am,
That's a
but I
lot of
just mean
questions
in a
you have to
general sense
ask
because I didn't
themselves
always.
now.
Yeah,
Pardon?
I didn't always work, from home. I had a job for many years, and I just learned time and time again that people had this idea and this saying that, it's just business. It's just business. But you know what? It's not.
It's
It's
not
it's people's
because,
lives. And
right.
and so when you are a boss, because I was, when you are also an employee at the same time, so it was both. Um, when you're in those positions, how do you treat the people that you're with? I think is more important than your image. I hesitate when it comes to image and people, talking about how great they are, or how they're not just talking about themselves, but people. It's easy to get ahead of yourself. It's easy to become that drive. It's easy to become a different person and not look out for people,
Right.
not care.
And you know something, I see this so often when I go out and speak for companies, is that yes, unless you have an absolute certainty of who you are, you can look in the mirror and say, I am living my life in a manner that I am proud of. When you're looking in that mirror, then you're doing all the right things you're supposed to be doing. If you look in that mirror and say, I'm not happy with that person in the mirror, then ask yourself why. And then because regardless of whatever your wife's not doing, or your husband's not doing, or your sister's not doing, or your kids aren't doing, or are doing, or whatever, and I'm not as successful as my neighbor next door, if you're not comfortable with that person that you're looking at right in the mirror, and you're not proud of who you are as a person and the work you're doing, regardless of what position you're in. I will mention one person, Elon Musk. I love that there was a picture of him straddled across the desk at work where his employees saw him taking a nap, because he wanted them to know he works just as hard for them as they work for him. And as we know, we all have problems. We've all gone through our struggles. That
Yeah.
doesn't, that to me says a lot about him as a character, as a person, as an archetype of somebody I've come to learn a lot about in reading a lot about him, is that he does have values. He does cherish children. He does cherish family. He does cherish his work. He does cherish the quality of his work. And you know why I know that? Because years and years ago, he worked at the same company that my ex-husband did. And I knew his work ethic. And I knew there were only two people in that company whose work ethic was that hard working. And that was my ex-husband and him. And I can say that about him then, that I can say about him now. And I noticed that women's roles are different than men's in the workplace. We integrate everything. So what we do in the workplace, whether, the customer is happy or not happy, goes home with us more than men do. Men are able to more often leave it at work than bring it home.
And
they bring actually their family into the workplace.
Of course, that is a generalization, but I think it's accurate on many levels.
Yeah, I think what happens is men compartmentalize better and women integrate more. If we can find that happy medium and understand that in our respected fields when we're at work and respect who that individual is. I don't know about you, Mike. I like to hang out with you. I love to hang out with you and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
I love to hang out with people that share the same values as I do.
Agreed.
Now, there's another very wealthy billionaire this week that I just went, you know what I said.
I do.
I was like, later days, I could see that our values were not in alignment, even as friends or respect for one another. And, he makes billions, but the difference was always the same difference, was that my values didn't align with his. And that we just had different values about family, about life, about time, about, and I, like you, Mike, I think family is important. Who I am as a person when I look in the mirror is I'm Ranelle Wallace, a mother, a grandmother, an aunt. And that's what's important to me. Everything else, I'm a neighbor. Next, I'm Mike's friend. And I'm everyone who's listening's friend. So for me, those lines blur a little bit because you know me, Mike, everybody's my friend.
Yeah.
I don't make enemies. I usually will walk away if things don't align.
Yeah.
In our values.
I wish that was a option for everybody, because most people are in a position where they cannot just leave their job. They have to deal with crappy people sometimes.
Day to day, sitting on a factory line, or, how many people do software or machinery or on a car line or
sales,
factory sales, real estate, hospitals. I speak for a lot of hospitals, and I always hear the same things, that the nurses don't feel that the doctors understand them. Right. And the doctors don't think the nurses respect them.
Yeah.
And the first thing I have them do, this is a real honest to goodness thing that I have everyone do in a smaller conference room, is I make everyone get down on their hands and knees. Do you know that?
And crawl around?
And crawl around. Like if they were babies,
like an effective use of your time.
Well, there's
something very highly productive. You know what? I think you're just doing that because you want to, be like, I bet you I can get them to get on their hands and knees. Every last one of them.
And bark.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what you were doing.
I do it because the first thing that I want them to learn is that they are equal. When we really look at it, we're all equal when we look straight forward. Right? Our body's on the ground. You can't see who's fat, who's thin. You don't see what their positions are. You just see that everyone's equal on the floor. And then the next thing I do is I have them sit, of course, with their legs crossed, and then look at the person sitting across from them, pair off, and not look away. Sit there with anybody for more than 20 seconds and see if you can do it this week.
There
Look
are
them directly
fascinating
in the
studies
eye.
on that now, that the connection that happens when you're looking at somebody directly. It's metaphysical. It's not just you're smelling them or you're what you're seeing. There's an actual transfer of something that allows the connection to happen. And so
Right.
there's some fascinating studies I've read. So
It's that soul to soul. And that's where my near death came in, is understanding. My grandmother tried so hard, and I could tell she was trying to teach me and teach me and teach me.
and this is
But
while
there
you were
was
on the
that,
other side. She was your guide.
right.
Yeah.
And she was trying to teach me. And I could see, I grew up in California, in Orange County and in the Valley. And so it was just, she grew up in a small farm community in Tremont, Utah. I mean, how different,
Big
and then
difference.
big difference. But she had changed, and I noticed she had changed. She was not the jolly, red-cheeked grandma I once knew. She was a woman, and she was trying to teach me woman to woman.
Mm.
And so in her frustration, finally at one point, she said, Ranelle, I want you to do something. See those stairs, those stone stairs? I want you to walk down those stone stairs. Now, my first thought was, wait, where are the rails? You want me to go down where?
You were already dead. It's not like you can get more dead.
Okay, I get that, but you have to understand your mind.
Yeah,
It's really, you're right. It's a spiritual experience that we go through. It's a metaphysical experience that we go through in this life. That if we're not centered to understand that in the workplace, at home, with our friends, playing ball, doing whatever we're doing, if we can't be ourselves, who we are, with the wealthiest man to the poorest man, then who are we? Who are we?
Yep.
Right?
I think everything, when we go to the other side, it is completely stripped down. It's only
It
what's
is.
inside. It's only what
You would
is
think.
who we become.
No, no,
Okay,
no,
well,
no,
you're the
no,
bro here, so let's go to you. What
no.
do you think?
Okay, the reason why, because I'm the one who needed to learn it, not anyone else, but Ranelle. That's why she got frustrated. And she said, I want you to go down there. Go down those stone stairs. And stairs, only that they were floating stones, right? And I noticed that they like disappeared into a mist. That was
Well, that
not fun.
does not seem safe.
And so I went, well, got to trust her. I am dead. I realize I'm dead. I'm not going to die again. But there is one place I could go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I got to trust. So I went down these stone stairs, and suddenly the room lit up, and it was a large hall, and that the walls were all closed in and made of marble. And at the head of this marble room was a like a counter, lack of a better word, that was made of marble, but it was kind of an altar. And it was a woman laying across that altar. And I noticed what she was wearing. She was wearing a ton of bangles, of gold.
What's
And
a
she was
bangle?
wearing a bracelet.
Oh,
So it wasn't just the bracelet on the
uh,
arms, so she had bangles on her ankles as well. And she had, really see-through clothing. Back in that period, seeing a woman's breast was not what we call, even on the other side, I don't think that's even a consideration, But I noticed that I could see her breast, and because her clothes were very see-through, and she waited for me to come forward. And I looked around, I realized I was alone. And I realized I was no longer floating across the room, that I actually did have to take some steps forward. So I stepped up to that large marble counter that she was draped across. And the moment I saw her face, I recognized it. I recognized it that quick. It was Middle Eastern. She had a very taupe skin, olive taupe, and she had her eyes done in an ancient Egyptian way. And I said, "That's Cleopatra." She said, "Correct. Come forward," in a very demanding tone. And I looked around like, "Hey, sis, who are you telling what to do?"
You're not my grandma.
Yeah. And how many kids did you have, Cleopatra? Okay, so
I don't know the answer to
decided
that.
go ahead and step forward. And she said, "Now, kneel and bow." And I said, "For my opulence, of course, my omnipotence. I am a god." And like you, Mike, there's only one God I worship.
Yep.
And she wasn't it. And instead of stepping forward at that point, I looked around when she asked me to bow, realizing that there was no one bowing to her because there was no one there. But in her mind, there was. She actually believed that there were people bowing. Because she looked out in this blank room, with her hands in a jovial manner and circle manner, like, look at everyone else bowing. And I realized she was in such a delusion of her mind that her spirit had followed for so long, that we know, according to history, some of the acts that she perpetrated upon a society, that they're still to this day. I went to visit Egypt, I went to the pyramids, and still to this day, they're still trying to break the past of the past. Does that make sense? Even though it's a very Muslim country, they're proud to be of an Egyptian heritage that dates back to Cleopatra. And so everywhere you go around Cairo, you will see Egyptian papyri everywhere. So they have still this rich history of the past that dates back to Rome and the joining of Rome with Egypt. And it's still that way today, Yet when I was there, it happened to be only 2 weeks right after the Muslim Brotherhood, the Spring Brotherhood. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was
You
a
may have been
very
too young.
poor choice of time. No, I remember it was 2013 or 2011, depending on when,
Yeah, I think it was.
what moment you're talking.
I think it was 13.
Yeah,
Because
it
I
was
remember that they
good.
had set, they had the Quran there, and those who were kneeling with the Quran, they had set on fire, and
Yeah, it was the
it
Arab
was pretty.
Spring. It spread across
Yeah.
all of the Middle East. Changed the
Yes.
world.
Yep, it did. And not only that, there was not one American in that entire country except Ranelle Wallace. Because I am that determined. Damn it, I paid for that ticket. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but I did.
Oh no, I would have too, because that was. I mean, I'm glad you have a story, but that was kind of dumb.
Well, it was after my near death, so of course I wanted to go see Cleopatra and see the
Oh yeah,
great
yeah. It
Egyptian,
was just bad timing.
obelisk and
I
the
would love to go.
pharaohs. And
Yeah, I would love it.
no, you wouldn't. No. I honestly can tell you would rather go to Rome. There's so
Well,
many
I'd like to
wonderful,
go
rich
both.
historical places that I was actually kind of disappointed when I saw the pyramids, because I'd always been taught as a kid that they're like one of the wonders of the world, and see how we are about our belief systems.
Hmm.
Yet when I got there, there wasn't a living soul. There weren't even vendors there. The man that took me was actually, I was invited there for a women's conference. And he was actually, I'm going to get a little emotional. I'm sorry. I got home and I got a letter from his daughter, and he got shot and killed after I got home. I don't know why. She never said why. She just sent me the picture of the front paper of her dad laying there in blood. And he was a professor.
That's rough.
And I had a lot of respect for this man because the Egyptians have such love for Christianity as much as they do Muslims. And in fact, he had told me a story about one of the cathedrals there, one of the very first cathedrals that Mary. So you're right, there is one very historical monument there that has a lot to do with Christianity.
Yeah.
And it's the actual Coptic Christians chapel where Mary, they believe, went after Jesus was born.
Yeah.
And worshiped there. And in fact, they still believe to this day that that's true. And he was telling me on the way to the airport that, you know, just before the Muslims ring had happened, that a lot of it was sad because just a couple years before that, you know, Christians, Jews, and Muslims all stood in tears as they watched this beautiful angel walking back and forth on the cathedral wall on the roof. And he said, Ranelle, you know, we're all humans, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I said, yes, we are. He said, do you want to, you know, we've got hours because, of course, I was kidnapped. That's another long story.
Yeah.
I was kidnapped on that trip and held hostage for 3 days. And he's the one who had freed me from being held hostage. A lot of it was my own effort, too. You know, it took a lot for me to sneak away from the gunman to get onto a computer, and I was shaking so hard. And I actually got on Facebook. So anyone out there who remembers that, please post it. I would love to talk to you. And it was family and friends who saw the posting that I had put going, please call the embassy. Well, I hadn't known this, but during the move, just before I had gotten there, 2 days before I gotten there, the U.S. Embassy guy that was over it was threatened, and so he ran away from his post. So there was nobody at the U.S. Embassy.
Well, that's bad timing. Again, bad timing.
And for that reason, that's why this wonderful Nasir, I call him Nasra because I could never say it right. So we'd laugh. It's Nasir, Ranelle. Oh,
Nasir.
Yes, sorry. And he said, do you want to go to the cathedral? I can take you, because we were driving around for hours because I had, you know, snuck away, grabbed a few things, left a lot behind, and never was so scared in my entire life. And he met me out on the road and just literally opened the door and I rolled in into the seat. And then he said, well, we got hours. What do you want to do? I'm like, my heart's beating a mile a second, thinking they're coming after us with guns. And no, that was a lot of my drama, you know.
You're dramatic.
Yes, I am. Well, you
drama?
No,
drama?
It's just
you.
Okay. All right. So I'm there in Egypt. Not everyone had a car. Okay. In fact, it's very rare when someone has a car. It just so happens because his position at Cairo University, he had a nice car.
No, that's
And
good.
because I had spent that time with him when he took me over to see all, the Egyptian sites, that I realized, what was going on.
She's just taking it off now.
Okay. So I was so blessed, and yet I was still an American, and I realized I was the only American. There were a couple of men from England who were working on some lines there at the Sheraton, which I thank my daughter for. She got me into the Sheraton. That was a lot of what protected me as well. I wasn't in downtown Cairo. It was outside of town, just near the pyramids. And so as an American, and only American, I had to really put my hands into the hands of a man I hardly knew. And in that moment, in that car, when he told me about this cathedral, and he said, Ranelle, only in that moment did Muslim and Christian and every religion held hands, and Jew held hands, and beheld the most divine sight we'd ever seen. And I will always cherish my time with you here, because I've gotten that close to that same feeling that I got to see with. Right?
That's
so
beautiful.
I was so deeply touched, and bless his heart, he didn't have a lot of money, come on, he's a professor. Yes, the college paid for his car, but he was paying it off doing tours.
Yeah.
Because at the time,
somebody. Oh, that's for you?
Yes.
Okay, I was just like, somebody passed it.
She's just getting her
my meds
yep.
at the pharmacy.
Yep.
Take 1 second.
Just finish that impact.
So yeah.
Okay.
Driver's license. Get that one.
Yeah. And so he spent 12 hours driving around. He says, get out of the back seat, get up here and sit with me.
Oh,
so
that's sweet. It wasn't driving, Miss Daisy?
I said, no, I'm not going to get out of the car. That's okay, though.
I'll stay here. So it was driving, Miss Daisy.
It was Miss Daisy. Oh, come on. I wasn't that old at that point. Stop. So I rolled myself over the top of the seat, and he laughed, and he said, well, we won't tell anybody. This is Egypt, Ranelle. You still have to remember, you are in Egypt. You are a woman. And he says, so you may need to be careful next time. I said, okay, I will. So we were sitting across from each other, staring at each other for just that second. He started laughing. And he said, how in the world did God bring, or Allah, or whatever you want to say, bring two people, two humans together to have a good laugh? And I'm driving you around in fear that I'm going to get shot.
Yeah. I mean, like we
and he died.
Yeah, not long after.
Just a few weeks after I came home. The irony of that moment stayed with me forever. That Egyptian queen, Cleopatra, that whole experience of my near death, I had to come home and look myself in the mirror and say, who are you, Ranelle? Who are you? Not Ranelle who saved the family out of a burning home, not Ranelle who knows all the presidents and the senators and the Congress, not Ranelle the celebrity, but Ranelle. Who is Ranelle? Who sat with this man in a car for 12 hours driving around, worried whether we were both going to get shot?
And connecting at the same time.
In such a divine way.
Yeah, being able to connect with the people around us, I think is absolutely key. And when we're looking inward constantly, trying to be a better
Are
person.
you on
and
trazodone as well?
it
Don't take it
becomes,
with the venlafax medicine.
well, almost there.
So, yeah,
It becomes
almost there.
difficult
Oh,
to, I'll let you finish.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
Talk, Mike.
sorry. So yeah, it becomes difficult when you're looking inward to really
Don't forget this.
open your heart to others and allow them in. And that is when you can have the most rich experiences in your life. And that, I honestly believe, is a large part of why we're here, is to make
Yeah,
those connections, to
because the
have those
two
things.
tablets that you take. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. I have to go out to the car, I think, to go find some money.
Okay.
$5.61
For two capsules.
for 2
Somebody help her.
capsules. Oh my
Want it?
word.
You don't want it. You don't want it, or you want it?
No, I have to get it.
You have to get it.
I have to get
You
it.
want to just go to your car? And
I'll go get my car and see what's in there. Okay, I'll be right back. Oh, I'm running because they're kind enough to wait for me.
This isn't,
But my
everybody,
shoe's
if you
falling
were
off.
surprised, this is not the first time that she's had to run while live on the show.
No joke.
Yeah, so if you
The
know,
irony of my life. My life. Always running. Always running.
I mean, some of it's self-inflicted. I mean, the other day when you squirted yourself in the eye with mint.
Yes, no kidding. I was so darn sick for 4 weeks. I could not even move out of bed. That's how sick I really was. I mean,
yeah, you were.
it was horrific. I don't know that I've ever been that sick in years. Oh no.
So,
of course I am. Oh, Mike. I ran. My wallet isn't in the car, I don't think. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Well, I can, yeah, I'll let you focus on that, and I'll make my points.
Yeah.
So everybody, if I think that connection that we have with others, that we have with not even people that are close to us, but people that we interact with, and people at work or other types of situations, you can have these moments where you can connect. And that connection is key to all of our lives, I believe. And that's the type of connection that will follow you and you'll remember. And I believe that if you're looking at, let's say, the whole Cleopatra thing, when she's lying there telling you to bow, we are told to look, to be our best selves, to be something that we are beautiful and perfect in every way. Like that's what people are saying, that's healthy. You want to have that kind of look on yourself, but I don't believe that that's true. I think that we are a broken, we are broken humans, each of us. And to recognize that not only are we individually, we have our struggles, we have problems, we have great things, we have bad things in our lives. But to look at and say, I am so important, and not have those connections really robs you of a lot. And I think that focus on yourself and how everyone should look at you, everyone should see how beautiful you are, how thin you are, or how good you are at what you do. Those types of things aren't going to fulfill your life with joy. You can be hardworking and have joy in the hard work and do things, but that needs to be, I believe, needs to be something that's inward, that you're doing for a purpose. And I believe that we are way too involved in ourselves. That's how people look the other way when bad things happen. That's how we end up at each other's throats as a country or as just individuals, is because we are looking at our lives from a selfish point of view, and not just selfishness, but also the pride that, oh, this person hurt me. This person did bad. This person wronged me. Even if they don't know they did, or that maybe they did. It becomes a toxic situation when you start to look at yourself and think that you're more important than everyone else. Because you're not. I'm not. Ranelle is not. We are not more important than the rest. We all have different roles in life. And Ranelle, we can't hear you, by the way. I did that on purpose because I know there's lots of movement. I'll turn you back on in a second. But we've got to start seeing that as a toxic type of look, because we as humans are family, and evil can really only happen when there's just pure or selfishness and people are looking out for only themselves, or trying to be greater than you, trying to compete. And as much as I love games and I get competitive, I enjoy it, it can't be because you want to be better than someone else. Because when you do that, you see them as less. And I warn against that. I really do. Because you can miss out on so much. And I think that's part of the lesson that Ranelle saw. And I'm going to turn it back on now, Ranelle.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, someone stole my wallet.
Oh my gosh.
But faith in humanity. There's a kind person who works here who knows me. He's seen me here before, haven't you? He has. I'm going to bring him the change tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for helping her. I greatly appreciate that.
When the worst of the worst, like, I should be really upset someone stole my wallet, right? I'll bring you the change. I should be upset.
And you probably are on some level, which is not a bad thing. Exactly.
Yeah, but the wallet, I think only, it did have a lot of money in it. Never mind.
And
so I'm going to ask everyone to like and subscribe. And if you would like, please, we would love for you to subscribe and send us some money that we can continue to operate and send you more stories.
She paid. Oh,
we can't quite
get
super,
too. So
we can't quite get super chats yet, but
we can't do super chats. But if you can send it to me on Facebook or Mike on Facebook, we would so appreciate it. But so like and subscribe it. If that's the most important thing
if at the very least. And we'll move. We're going to keep moving forward, and we're kind of back now that we're done being sick and the holidays are over. And so we're going to, start anew, and next time we'll be on time, I believe.
Thank you.
But I thought we'd be on time this time. So
well, and I did too until I realized that I had left my prescription, right? And I need the change to give back to him.
What is the cash? It's not.
It's not working?
Is it back? Payment? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it says no, but it says back.
Okay, because I need to,
So she needs to sign. So you sign it, please.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I can't talk when there's so much going on. So I muted you just for a second till you finish. But we're gonna keep going and do this. And we're gonna go into this new year. And Happy New Year, by the way, and Merry Christmas for we didn't get to say it all after during Christmas, right? I'm gonna turn it back on. Say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
go ahead. Happy New Year and Merry
Yay!
Christmas from me too.
Everybody.
And I'm so glad for anyone who is going to be listening in. I know a lot of people are catching up on my shows,
Oh my.
and I want to thank them for that.
Can I give
Yes.
you one?
Yeah, it's him. So
Yeah.
if you can like and subscribe, that would be amazing for us because it
Yes.
allows us to bring on other guests.
Yeah.
And I have met so many wonderful people who have agreed to come on the show. Jack Camfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, had agreed today.
Thank you.
And
$16.
okay,
That's your receipt.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
I will
Just,
get
uh,
my
you have
prescription.
your prescription?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, thank
No,
you.
Don't forget it again.
Don't forget it again. Oh, there he is. I owe you $4.
You're all good.
I'll be there tomorrow.
No, you
Okay.
don't owe me anything.
I owe
You don't owe
you.
me anything.
That's a good man.
We're not going to argue about this. Okay.
Yeah.
See you
She
tomorrow.
will argue. She will argue till she's blue in the face about,
Yep. Till the cows come home. Yeah. I have a hard time about receiving. Okay.
you do. I
Just so you know. So if I'm
Yeah.
asking for the show, I'm asking for our work
Yeah.
because it is an
And we want
important
you
work.
more. Yeah.
And there have been people who have been influential in my life, like Jack Camfield. In fact, I was there in the very first Chicken Soup for the Soul, when Jack did his very first one, and the many consecutive ones after.
Yeah.
We remained dear and close friends, and he has a message that is very powerful. Through all the books that he's done, and we are of like mind about understanding who you are.
Yeah.
He started
Okay.
out as a principal at a school, and he realized that the future that lies within us is in our
Mhm.
kids
Yeah.
and in our self-esteem and self-worth. And if
I mean,
we
that's-
couldn't get that figured out,
And that's true.
that we would
But
fall as a nation.
I end up getting like, I don't want to be a naysayer, but my generation grew up with that attitude of, you're great. Take a hold of yourself.
You're special. You're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You're
And then
the
we
best.
became adults. And I bet you to a man and woman that everyone, last one of them will probably say, yeah, that was crap.
Yeah, while I'm working at Walmart now,
Yeah.
or like
and
me,
you could even be CEO and to realize that we are not special, but still have a self-esteem.
but we're special. That's
We are
the beauty.
It is a beautiful thing. We are special, but not because of the reasons that America and other
The world per se puts out.
world. Yes,
or
that's the better way to put
the
it.
wealthy, or even the poor. Because I'll tell you what, there are bikers that I love to pieces, and they're as poor as not, But I love everyone equally. I could care less. I don't care if you're a janitor. I don't care if you're a CEO. I have a certain set of values, and that every soul is God's child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every soul is of worth. I saw an ET thing. I know this is off the record, off the mark and off.
You go off
with
topic. I
everything.
don't. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But they did this supposed ET interview with an ET. And he said they found him in the desert, Area 51, which, by the way, I was only 52 miles from as the crow flies. And they found him in the desert, picked him up, and they, of course, delivered him to, the Air Force Base. And, but in the back, he read their minds, and he repeated this to all their minds that were in the car. He said, if you knew who you are and how special you are, how gifted you are as humans, you would be shocked.
There is a dichotomy of attitudes or feelings that I have towards this, because I completely agree. As God's children, as spiritual beings on a physical journey, right? We are important. We matter because He loves us. We're very important because He loves us. And that's something that I've come to realize. That's where it's at. When we think that we are awesome because we can make a basketball shot in a certain way, or we can win in war, at the worst case scenario, or other types of things, when we want to dominate, that's when the worst of us comes out. And I believe that we have to see ourselves as amazing, having amazing potential and being very special, but not that way, not in a way that puts you above others.
Well, what I like to say is the ego. The ego gets in the way of our eternal nature.
Mm-hmm.
I live near Area 51, and all I saw was human beings. Maybe I did see, I saw some unique, as it were, vehicles, air vehicles that were unique, that were not airplanes. But what I saw in them were people that look like human beings. So if there is another planet in our solar system that is occupied, they look like us. So would we not treat them? Yeah.
Because,
in our universe,
beyond,
would we not? And I have to preface that this alien was clearly said he was not. He had fallen into a wormhole here. And through a message that was being sent off from Area 51. And they came, the only reason they came was because of the signal. And when he had gotten under the deck, which is true out there, it is pretty treacherous when you get out there. There are come up at you all of a sudden. So I get that. So I'm not going to say one way or another whether he was from this universe, that next universe. All I can say is what I saw is they were God's children. And I'm going to value myself as much as I value them. And if you're troubled, whether you're lonely, and I can tell you, especially at Christmas, and being sick and not being able to have Thanksgiving or Christmas this year.
Yeah. I was in a
painful
similar boat.
For me.
Yeah.
And, because we think we're not traditional. We think we don't have these human behaviors that define us, but we do. We have family traditions. We have traditions of Christmas. We have traditions of our nationality, our color, our race. And I do treat everyone, because I've been all over the world, and I do treat everybody as equal as the bad claim person as, you know, as a person who is, you know, just trying to learn who they are for the first time.
Yeah, I
Or
will
the
I will
person
attest to
who is
that.
a scholar.
Your attitude towards others is very much that way, which is foreign to many people, and so they can think
I
that.
know a lot of people think I'm weird. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this very wealthy person today thought I was pretty weird. You know, they hadn't met me. They know very little about me other than what's been written. So, you know, I could totally relate to what this person was thinking. You know, who is this person? Right?
And I'll tell you, if weird is being different from the rest, I think we both fit that bill. But I would say that
I would venture to guess that everyone listening is all like us. We are all like each other. I have a sister-in-law that's Black. I have a sister-in-law that's Filipino. I have a sister-in-law
oh yeah,
that's
yeah, and that's right, yeah.
Hispanic. I have a very multicultural family from California, and I'll tell you what, I love them all equally. They love us all equally. We all get along as
That's good.
human beings because we love God.
That
And
boom.
it you know, it goes across the scale. You know, Sunwon, my son-in-law, he's from Korea. You know, so he's been around Buddhism, and you know, though he's not Buddhist, but he's actually didn't have a religion. But I love him as much as I love anyone else in my family because he's a human being, and
Yeah,
because God
and
loves him as much as he loves me, and he's going to give him equal parts of a prayer answered, maybe not in a pocketbook, maybe not in a job, but he's going to give him equal measure of love,
yeah, we are not here on earth
or at least we would hope
for
so,
a
right?
career. We are not here on earth to have a career. We are not here on earth to pursue these things like that and be a professional something, whatever. That
We're
is
here to have an experience,
exactly,
right?
and our experience is important. But as far as
Critical.
as
It's
far as
critical.
what makes us important, what makes us special, it is not what you do for a living. I'm sorry, it's just
And
not.
we're here to be in harmony with the land around
Yes.
us, not to mow it over, plow it under, you know, tackle it like it's. I come from a construction family, so I can tell you that I'm not talking on those terms. I'm talking about greed-driven destruction.
Yeah.
I'm talking about not respecting the natural life that is around us and we're around it.
Yeah.
I saw a
Whether it's
beautiful tree
human
system
or
today.
the rest, we are
Right,
caretakers of the earth, and how
of
we
this
treat it
earth.
is
We're
important.
here for such a short time.
Yeah.
Are we leaving our children, our legacy? And this is what this whole disagreement with this other gentleman was, you know, I really kind of knew that he had a responsibility to leave his children with a legacy because he wasn't leaving anything with them other than a bitterness about their mother. And, you know, we had known each other like, I don't know, quite a while back ago. So it was wonderful to see that he took me up on that offer to create a legacy. He developed a ranch that he called Legacy. And I am
Okay.
so grateful. I hope and pray that he continues to allow tours to come through there in that area in Missouri to be able to what a family looks like, what, you know, caring, sharing, loving, share, you know, respect, honor, all of it looks like.
Yeah.
Regardless, because we'll all, you know, what is the divorce rate now? It used to be that it was what was it? I think it was 1/3, and now it's 3/4 of all marriages end up in divorce. So if you're in the same marriage, count yourself blessed.
Yeah.
Count yourself extremely blessed.
And it is hard when you have like,
It's hard.
it is hard. But what I mean is, in this
But
day and
so
age
is every
now,
relationship.
having children and having a family
Yes.
is getting harder and harder. And being able to
Because
afford,
we've allowed a
we
few
all are
elite.
experiencing it. What?
I'm going to be from a grandmother's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming from a grandmother's view where the elites didn't have the kind of control that easily could. I'm talking to you on the phone and driving. You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Where in my day and era, when I grew up, you know, it had a telephone cord.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before it went wireless. When I went to college, it went wireless. And then I watched the event, you know, when I had my near death, of course, I saw all of the technology that's still yet to come. And if we don't get this one thing about being human, we're going to let a few who control a small amount
And dominate.
and dominate,
Domination is,
which is really only 1% of the GDP, you know, really it is. It's 1% of the wealthy that are
yeah.
wealthy.
I mean, at least that are in those positions, that are in a position to control.
I think it's smaller than that. 1% is anything over 100,000, Mike.
Well, I think it's high. That's a higher statistic now because the way.
You think so? Oh gosh, does that age me? Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But
well, I was in the millions, and then I went from the millions to nothing. So there you go.
To the millions of zeros.
To the millions to zero, and living on Social Security. So
yeah, it's not.
And disability.
It is hard to raise a family, but it is something that if I were to talk about legacy, that would be it. That would be where my legacy would lie, and I want it to lie. That's at least. Hopefully, I'm doing a good job, but that's where I want it to lie.
You are, Mike. Come on, I met your kids. They're wonderful.
They are wonderful
Your
children.
daughter sat there for hours, and I'm like, why do you want to sit and listen to this old lady talk? I mean, and I was completely sincere, wasn't I?
You were.
She goes, I think you're wonderful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I laughed so hard. I said, I'm not boring you? She goes, no. So I think when you give your children content and understanding about who they are, that goes beyond these barriers of finance and color and race, and we got to stop allowing others to race bait us and social bait us and money bait us.
Yeah, money.
I mean, I had to let that one friend go because somewhere in his age, he's my age, you know, he lives here where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, so I know a lot of billionaires, okay? So when I'm talking about wealthy men, I know a lot of wealthy men. So I'm talking about one in particular that I'm talking about that I spoke about having a legacy. He changed. And I don't know the dynamics of what happened from the time that I had talked to him, other than that he valued that his time was more important than mine because of the money he made. Not by the people he hires or the people he pays, because he doesn't have a huge staff and he doesn't have a huge employee base. Believe me, I would have been speaking for his corporation. It wasn't. It's very minimal. But he still saw himself as this rich elite.
Yeah.
And I went, wow, what happened? How did this happen? Were we always on different playing fields?
Yeah.
What was I, Mike?
No, I mean, you may have misread things, but I doubt it. I doubt you're perceptive enough.
Oh,
And
I know I didn't, because he very clearly said, I hate you.
oh, well, that's true. I mean, now that happened, but I meant like earlier, because if he
And I
changed,
was like, hate me over time you talked to me for how long? Exactly 30 seconds?
time
Really?
is money. Time is money. And how much time I spend doing something worthwhile or doing something.
That's the
It
point.
isn't, yeah.
Worthwhile. Am I doing something with the people that I work with or under me or above me? Is there a mutual love and respect? Because I'm saying it's both sides. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's just the wealthy.
Oh, no, because,
the poor resent it as much as the wealthy do.
yeah.
There are a lot of issues across the board.
And we, those that don't have the money can look up and be, oh my goodness. And it's probably even more common because there's more of us. They look up and they're like, oh, why don't I have that?
Right?
Who are they that have that? And so,
who are they?
yeah, and that's
Why, I work just as hard.
yeah,
I work for that company. I'm their employee.
Yeah. And I believe that it ends up being that we put on a pedestal those that make lots of money, and then they see themselves that way too. So
Well, and
to a degree
I
ourselves.
hate being poor, Mike. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
oh yeah, it's not fun.
Look, I had to just borrow $4 from a kind clerk. Now, totally different racial, by the way, backgrounds, not just religion, but total racial background, totally different. But he has seen me. I have seen him. He knows my heart. I know his heart.
At least to the degree that you had that connection in time over time.
Right. He's working he's working part-time at Walgreens and was willing to go to the ATM to take out money out of his account to give me $4.
See that?
Seriously.
That is the kind of thing that I believe sets it. I think it's just as much, if not more, of a blessing for him to be able to put that out there and to have a connection with another person and to help. It really does make a difference in the hearts of those that give. And so allowing others to be able to serve you, and I know that's a hard one for you, but allowing others to serve you
for me.
Yeah. To serve you and you serve them too, because you want that same richness in your life. I do. And that's where I believe the wealth truly lies. I'm
not gonna lie. I found out I had pride being poor because it affected my health. And now my health is paying a huge toll.
Yes.
And when I was wealthy, though, I had more bills and we barely made it. So when you see somebody living in a rich mansion on the beach, which we also had bigger bills. Gosh, think about it. In the 90s, guess what my house payment was?
I don't want to say.
My kids don't even know this. It was $12,000 a month.
That is insane for that time period.
And
specifically, man.
And then when the bills came and you have to heat that house and you have to provide for the employees to help you take care of that house and the parties that everybody expects to have at your house and all the nonprofits you're running and everyone expects you to contribute to, you know what I did? Fine, I'll do more. I'll do more. It was a
But
lesson for me because I fell into that trap, and now I'm falling into the trap of I'm poor. How can I still love myself and be poor and struggle? Do the thing that I do best, and that teach you,
s-
teach those who are
struggle,
listening.
struggle and strength go together. And
Right.
but that doesn't mean that those that have money don't struggle, like you said. They do.
Yeah, you
And
do.
they have their own struggles. They might be different. And there is a money gap. Yes. It is a wealth gap that's massive throughout the world.
And it's getting wider.
It is getting wider. But that also
My
means that there's a
brother,
health gap too. I thought about that today.
yeah.
There's a health gap because it is
I
a
mean, my brother was
luxury.
an software engineer working for downtown LA. I got him the job. You know, we trained him, he and his wife, wonderful couple. You know, she's a wonderful, beautiful voice. She's black and she has this beautiful, rich voice. I always loved singing with her. But I'm sad because they had to leave California because they got priced out of paradise. Because they're both retired and cannot live on the retirement money that they got from their work.
Yeah.
Living in California.
Well, my generation isn't going to get any retirement money in a general sense. So,
right.
Yeah. I
but
mean, it's gotten
I guess
pretty bad.
the biggest homelessness around are senior citizens. I said that to you earlier.
Yeah, you did.
It's the
Is in the
seniors
elderly. Yeah.
in California. They have parking lot after parking lot. My friend, who's my age, I grew up in high school with him, said he went along the 5 freeway and the 210 onto the 405, and he said, and for those in California can attest to this, that there are tents in the medium. There are tents and people living in the medium for miles and living in broken down motorhomes and broken down trailers, and cars are parked from downtown Los Angeles all the way out to Orange County. And the bulk of them are those who aren't hireable anymore. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
Does that work? It covers
works.
everyone who's not hireable.
It's
So
a
that's
major
senior,
problem.
that's disabled, that's, you know, why do you think those borders were opened?
Well, that's another story for another day.
Yeah, another day, another story. But really, we all know that it's
to a degree.
because we were trying to equalize out the gap, the working gap. You know, because we couldn't keep going in our economy the way it is. It just can't.
Well, there were some.
You know, it hurts
There were some
everybody.
that had that goal, but ultimately, I'll just say that I think we all see a lot of the problems, and they're becoming more and more apparent in our system, and it's all comes down to, I think, what we've been talking about, which is indulging yourself and having self-importance in a way that is prideful and in a way that puts you above others. And
yeah, if you have money, help those who don't. For those who don't let them be as prideful as I am. Teach them that it's okay. There are times you have to accept help.
Yeah.
That's not okay with me still. Yet I'm sitting here in a dark car in the middle of the night, owing one young man I have to drive all the way back in town, no gas in my car, and I'm ashamed. How sad is that, Mike?
It's been bred
this.
into you. It's been bred into you. My generation was bred in that you are special and you are good and you need to. Everybody's a winner. Everybody's gonna be happy. Blah 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 blah. 90s crap. Okay.
Yeah, and we were taught work, and your work will pay off. Education and work will pay off. It will.
Yeah.
Everyone's equal. You know, my dad was wealthy, but when I grew up, he was a teacher. So go figure, my younger brothers and sisters struggle because we have different views about life
Yeah.
because of
And
the wealth gap and the
different
education gap.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see it
So if
as
we can come together as equal
yeah.
understanding to love each other, just love each other, just be
Yeah.
kinder, be a kinder generation, be a kinder people. Help someone who's in need, like this wonderful young man
Yeah.
who is going home tonight, going, help this old lady. She got her wallet stolen.
Well, the richness that comes from giving, I think, is one of the key points that we have to come to realize. And now it doesn't mean that, you can't look at people that are on the side of the road living and say, oh, I would never get there. Oh, that could
Yeah,
never
don't you
happen to
dare
me.
say that, because I'm that one who
Mhm.
went from I built an entire downstairs apartment, Mike, that would put anyone to shame. And it was for people who couldn't afford it. And it was a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath, elegant, beautiful home downstairs. And we put up families that never paid rent. And that was okay with me,
Yeah.
and it wasn't guilt that I had money. I wanted to help.
That's the
I wanted to
richness,
help.
right? That's where the richness really comes from, is where do you put it, right? Where do you put your efforts and helping? And I just, that connection you made with a young man and helped with $4 makes a big difference to you and to him. And so
I don't know.
I know I
So
make that
there's a lot of
point.
wealthy all over the spectrum tonight that are listening. What are you going to do this week? What are you personally responsible for?
Doesn't have to
What
be
are
money either.
you going to do?
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be money.
Yep.
It's not money.
Love, which I think is more important. Just love.
Kindness, honor, respect, humanity.
Those are all good words. I like those words.
Yeah, and I say that to spouses. Spouses, treat your spouses well.
Yeah.
You don't know what they've sacrificed, especially these moms who sacrifice their bodies and then have to work. Love your wives.
Yeah.
Love your wives.
Very much love your wives.
There was nothing
I
Terry
love
could have
mine.
done.
Nina, if you're, oh, sorry. I said her name.
Oh, go ahead.
Wife,
Tell Nina.
if you're out there, I love you. She might not be
She
listening.
is a wonderful lady. I want you to know she supported
Profess
Mike.
my love to the world.
She has supported Mike through ups and downs and through even coming and spending hours with me.
Yeah.
And going and buying me a pillow when my pillow was a piece of paper, disguised as a pillow. It was bad.
So that me and my daughter can visit with you. She
Yes.
sacrificed and went and did that so that we could visit. And she's amazing.
Yeah, the doctor came in and I'll never forget this. This is real fast. I won't keep it. But he says, well, is there anything I can do to help you? And I said, and I took the pillow that I was laying on. And I said, maybe a pillow? And he got disgusted and walked out.
I didn't know that happened.
So that's how you ended up being the person to get me the pillow.
Yep. Well, he didn't feel the richness and fullness of serving and helping somebody else. I stole that opportunity. I took it.
He was like, oh, you're criticizing our hospital's pillows. Don't you know how hard I work as a doctor to pay for these?
This pillow is as good as you're going to get. Yeah.
I've been in and out of the hospital for so many years that the pillow is the biggest joke there. You know,
They
it
are.
is
Yeah,
the
they are.
saddest, biggest joke.
Yeah, they're
That
bad.
no dignity. So you want to be kind to someone, go visit someone in a hospital.
Yeah, that's a
Really,
very
it's a big
hard place to
service.
be.
It,
So,
and yeah, totally hard. Or convalescent home. You know,
we,
there are more men in convalescent homes, by the way, Mike, than women. But my son brought it to my attention. There are more men today and women committing suicide than ever in the history of our country.
yeah, that's true.
And I was stunned. Across the board, from 20 years to 70.
Yeah,
Mike,
it's
there's
rough.
never a reason to take yourself out of the game. And it's not a game. You're taking yourself out of people's lives.
Yeah,
People who love you, who look to you for emotional support and love. And when you take yourself out of that, you're taking yourself a very key part of that individual's life. I know to whence I talk because when I was on the other side, and I should have said it more enough, you know, when during my years, you know, working as a counselor and a therapist, I should have said it more. You are an intricate part of someone's life tonight. People out there, each one of our stories are intricate and intertwined, interlocked with each other.
yeah. I'm going to walk out that door, out of this room, and I'm going to walk into my 5 children that
and I'm going to go
very,
upstairs and try to figure out how I'm going to sleep on the floor tonight because I don't have any sheets on my bed. And yeah, that's a long story. All I can do is laugh.
Yeah, and that's how I have to take it. I mean, we are very important in each other's lives, and if you think that you aren't, you are.
You are. Please stop and think about it when you get depressed or when you're looking out and you're sad or you're alone. Believe me, someone's life is being touched by you right now, whether you're doing absolutely nothing at all. You may not even know the person.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've had to go to people and say, thank you for being that inspiration to keep me going. Thank you.
I agree. And you know what? I'm going to send a thank you out there to everyone that's been watching,
listening,
subscribe, listening to her, because she's just this, you know, sound that's kind of around here. It's just me on the screen, but she's just talking, you know, she's still on the other side. So maybe that's what's happening.
I think that's my biggest issue. If I were to say that I had one, is that I ask myself, and not in a suicidal way or that I don't count myself as valuable in someone's life, but I wonder why I'm still here. You know, why am I still here, Mike? I should have been dead how many times over?
Probably about 6.
How many times? How many cancers I've had? How many illnesses I've had? How many accidents I've had? A plane crash and car accidents, and holy cow.
Yeah.
Living in a car.
Yeah. I mean,
living in Madison. Being robbed, being raped. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, you've had a life.
But I will tell you, people listening, you're the reason Mike and I are here. So thank you.
Yep.
From the depths of our heart. Thank you. Oh, I went too far. I walked too far.
She's got her workout, you know, now.
How many times did I run out of the cold?
We've been going for about an hour and a half, and that's about what we want, an hour, an hour and a half.
When we are ending it. So
Yep.
good night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night. Much love. Remember, you are of ultimate,
Infinite worth.
incalculable worth, but you're not important. That's the lesson.
Right. Yeah, think about that this week and spend, honest to goodness, 10 seconds looking into someone's eyes. Count it if you have to.
Yep.
10 seconds.
Yep.
I'm going to claim 10 stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm at the top. 10. So guess how
10
long
seconds.
you have there.
Okay. Well, they've been staring at me for an hour and a half. Just me.
I made it. Okay.
So much love, everybody. Have a good night.
Peace.
And we will see you next week. We're going to be doing this. We're moving forward. So, we'll try to be on time
late or
next
not.
time. Much love.
And guaranteed something might happen. So hang in there.
See you
Much
guys.
love.